A muzzleloader is a firearm where you load ammo through the open front of the muzzle. Sure, modern guns might be more advanced, but muzzleloaders got a charm that keep them alive today. There's just something about the process that makes it fun and satisfying. Here's a list of the 7 best muzzleloaders and their key features, plus the things you need to consider to help you choose the best one for you. One of the things I love about the TC Compact SB is that it's got that speed breach system, which is fancy talk for super easy to clean. Believe me, cleaning black powder guns can be about as fun as trying to get ketchup out of a glass bottle, and this system makes it a whole lot simpler. And speaking of cleaning, it's got blued or silver weather shield finish. Basically, this means it's not going to rust up on you after a little bit of rain. This 50 caliber beauty comes in with a modern twist while keeping things real simple for us folks who don't want to overthink it. It's got a 26-inch barrel, and it weighs in at a bit over 6 pounds. Yeah, it's not exactly a featherweight, but it's manageable. Whether you're hiking to your favorite hunting spot or setting up in the backyard, this thing's portable enough that it won't wear you down like one of those long Sunday sermons. Pastor Jeff, if you're listening, I didn't mean it. Plus, the ambidextrous design makes it friendly for lefties and righties alike, so no one's getting left out. Next, we have the Gunwerks Magnus. It's got a bolt-action design that makes reloading just about as simple as convincing my daughter that ice cream is the perfect dinner. That to say, effortless. Gunwerks decided to take everything you thought you knew about muzzleloaders and make it high-tech. We're talking MOA accuracy, and this thing will reach out to about 500 yards and beyond. Most muzzleloaders might get you 200, maybe 300 yards, but this one, oh, it'll go far. Kinda feels like you're calling your target up on the phone just to say, hey there, time's up. The Gen 2 here has BDC reticles that help you hit what you're aiming at even if you got shaky hands like I do after a strong cup of joe. And that Magnus stock, ooh, it's fitted with that Picatinny rail and an adjustable recoil pad. So it's versatile enough to make you feel like a pro. The bolt action paired with a straight flute 26-inch barrel means accuracy that'll have your buddies calling you Deadeye Dave, or, well, Deadeye Buck in my case. I might have lost a step or two since my younger days, but when I get my hands on this thing, I'm still sharp enough to cut the cheese. I mean that literally and figuratively. The caliber? 50, of course. It's not just about the looks, it's about bringing the power. This muzzleloader's like a workhorse with a touch of a sports car. Carbon fiber stock, stainless steel action, and a tungsten finish. You look at it and you just feel like you're holding the future. But without all that sci-fi gadgetry nonsense. It's still raw, still tough, and still refined to perfection. It's got a Trigger Tech primary that's as crisp as that sound you hear when you first open a cold one after a long day. And with a scope setup, I've got a 4x16 on this one, it makes hitting those long-range shots feel like child's play. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the price. This beauty comes in at over $5,000. It's an expensive gun that's well built and worth every penny. Thompson Center has been in the muzzleloader game for a long time, and they've clearly been tinkering away to bring us this beauty. The Strike is packing a ton of features, and we're not just talking about looking good in the next G2 camouflage, though hey, that does not hurt. It features an externally threaded breech, which might sound all fancy, but all it really means is fewer headaches cleaning up after a day of shooting. None of that burnt powder gunk sticking into your threads, just smooth maintenance, the way it should be. It's the kind of easy cleanup I wish my grill had after I burned those burgers. Instead of the old school breech plug and retaining collar, the Strike's got a threadless primer adapter, which is like updating from an old rotary phone to a smartphone. It holds those 209 primers in place nice and snug, speeding up ignition. Quick and reliable. Kinda like when my kid sees ice cream and bolts for it. And if you're wondering about firing, it's got a tang-mounted striker that slides forward to do the job. No traditional hammer here. Just press the decocking button and boom, back to safe. It's simple, it's efficient, and it's a kind of innovation that'll make you think, why didn't they always do it this way? The match grade trigger on this thing is a treat. Wide blade, oversized trigger guard. It's like having the perfect pair of boots that fit just right. And with the 24-inch barrel and a 1:28 twist, it's built for accuracy. I mean, accuracy so tight, even my Wi-Fi signal would be jealous. And hey, if you got different tastes, it's got 3 stock options. Walnut, black composite, and the next G2 camouflage. You know, like picking between dad shoes, sneakers, or boots. The Tradition's Buckstalker XT got a break action design. That means the barrel release is right up front. easy to get to, and big enough that even if you're wearing gloves thick enough to make your hands look like bear paws, you can still get the job done. Just break it open, drop in a 209 primer, and you're ready to go. Kinda like making a PB&J sandwich. Simple, efficient, and always satisfying. Just don't forget the caps, or in this case, the primer. Otherwise, you're about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. This Buckstalker XT comes in a 50 caliber, and it's got a black synthetic stock. Nothing too fancy, but it's gonna hold up in bad weather, which is a big plus when you're out there hunting in conditions that'd make a duck think twice. And let me tell you, this thing's bare bones. You're not gonna find any factory sights here. No iron sights, no scope mount. It's like showing up to the barbecue without any sides, but hey, some folks like it that way. It gives you a blank canvas to work with. One neat bit of gingerbread on this model is that easy to pull accelerator breech plug, which makes cleaning this thing a breeze. Very important if you're like me and prefer spending your time shooting rather than scrubbing carbon out of a rifle. Plus there's a quick T-handled ramrod, so you can get those bullets loaded without feeling like you're arm wrestling a grizzly bear. And look, when you unbox this thing, they even throw in some goodies. Speed loaders, bullets, brushes, and cleaning supplies. Pretty much everything but the primers and powder. If you're like me, you probably got some of that stuff rolling around in your truck from last season anyway. Let me tell you, this ready-to-pack setup is a great way to get started without handing over a stack of Benjamins. It's budget-friendly, but it ain't cheap, and there is a difference. So, you got the basics. 50 caliber, synthetic stock, no sights included. Simple, dependable, and it'll get the job done. Just remember to add your own flair, maybe a nice scope or some aftermarket sights. And this old girl will serve you well. It's like fixing up an old truck. You start with a solid frame and the rest, well, that's the fun part. The Remington Model 700 has been around for ages. Heck, it's practically a legend. And here comes the muzzleloader version, ready to show up to the party and make everyone else feel a little bit underdressed. This baby comes with an inline bolt-action setup, which means that if you've handled the classic 700 before, you're already way ahead of the game. The controls, the safety, the way it feels in your hands, all comfortingly familiar. It's like they took your favorite pair of boots and made them waterproof. Same feel, just a little more versatile. But let's get to the power, because I know y'all are curious. The Remington 700 muzzleloader can handle up to 200 grains of powder. That means it's got some real oomph to it. Think of it like your teenager, all the energy, but needing the right direction. In practical terms, we're talking about hitting targets at 300 yards or so, which as you may know is no joke. And while it may not come with a scope out of the box, a little customization goes a long way. You slap a good scope on this and you've got yourself a serious long-range contender. One thing that stands out about this muzzleloader is that it comes with a 50 caliber chamber. So yeah, it's packing a punch. Plus, it's built on a stainless steel chassis with satin finish. Shiny, but not too shiny. Kinda like me after trying to impress the neighbors with my barbecue skills. The black composite stock keeps it feeling sturdy, but easy on the eyes. And let's be honest, who doesn't like a good-looking piece of craftsmanship? And oh boy, the barrel. At 26 inches, it's a little shorter than some of the other options out there, but it's nothing that breaks the deal. After all, it's not about the size of the barrel, it's how you use it, right? They also threw in sling studs for those of you looking to take this bad boy into the backcountry. Perfect for when you want to hike with it on your shoulder and pretend you're in a movie poster. But I gotta tell y'all about the trigger. It's adjustable and it is a smooth operator. Kinda like that one uncle who can talk his way out of anything. Add a 2-position safety and you've got that extra peace of mind, especially if you're like me and tend to double check if you lock the door at least 5 times before bed. There's even a hinged floor plate for quicker reloads. It's a small touch, but hey, every second counts when you're out in the field. All in all, this muzzleloader's just like a good old dad at a family barbecue. You know you can rely on him, it's comfortable, and he knows how to handle some serious heat. It's not over the top, but it's got everything you need to get the job done and it looks darn good doing it. If you're new to muzzleloaders, the Remington 700 makes a pretty solid first choice. Like learning to drive in a truck that's already been down every road. You'll be in good hands. Whew, this beast is a 45 caliber powerhouse designed to handle super magnum propellant charges up to 150 grains of black powder equivalent. So what's that mean for you and me? Well, we're talking about muzzle velocities of just over 2,200 feet per second. That's not just fast, that is blink and you will miss it fast. The kind of speed that makes even my Wi-Fi look like it's on dial-up. Trust me, my Wi-Fi's been slower than a turtle on a lazy Sunday. One of the things I love about the Paramount PRO V2 is its nitrate-treated 416 grade stainless steel Bagar barrel. Woo! It's free-floated, meaning that it's got some room to breathe for that maximum accuracy. Kinda like how I need to breathe after running up the stairs these days. Free floating is a fancy way of saying it ain't getting pushed around by other parts of the gun, making your shots smoother than butter on a hot biscuit. But we have to talk about the Veriflame breech plug. This baby uses a large rifle primer and plays real well with the Blackhorn muzzle loading propellants. That is the peanut butter to its jelly. CVA really thought this one through, making sure it's ready for anything you can throw at it. And the composite stock? Oh, it's got an internal aluminum chassis that you can adjust for length of pull and comb height. That means whether you're built like a linebacker or more like me after Thanksgiving dinner, this muzzleloader's gonna fit just right. Speaking of adjustments, this thing's got a trigger that's got more customization options than a burger joint. It's a fully adjustable trigger tech trigger. Light or heavy pull, whatever floats your boat. Plus, the Paramount V2 now comes threaded at the muzzle for a break, just in case you want to keep that recoil in check. Nobody wants to feel like they just got a bear hug from a grizzly after each shot. And listen, I wouldn't be right if I didn't mention the new Graybow design stock. This thing's got style. The camo pattern's just right, not too flashy, but not too boring either. Like my favorite fishing hat. Well worn, but always ready to impress. The 50 caliber version comes with a Williams Micro Adjust peep sight. And for the 45 caliber, you can add the sight separately if that's more your style. It's like building your own burger. Again, with the food comparisons, I guess you can tell it's almost lunchtime. The barrel lengths come in at 26 inches for both calibers, giving you that balance between handling and reach. And at around 8.4 to 8.6 pounds, depending on the caliber, this rifle's got just enough weight to feel substantial without breaking your back on a hike. The new CVA Extreme stock is the real deal, which in plain old dad terms means you can set it up so it actually feels like the gun's made for you. Doesn't matter if you're using a scope or open sights, cause you're gonna get a good cheek weld. Trust me, comfort is key when you're out there in the mountains, and this stock knows it. Speaking of mountains, the MRX actually stands for mountain rifle, and it's designed for exactly that. Lighter weight and easier to lug around, with a 26-inch barrel, this beauty is compact enough for that thick brush, but still packs enough punch for longer shots. Don't even get me started with that barrel. It's a Bergara barrel, and let me tell you, Bergara doesn't mess around. They slapped on a nitrite and Cerakote finish, which means this thing's built to survive wet weather without turning into a rust bucket. Shout out to my hunters in soggy climates, y'all can breathe easy. Oh, and before I forget, the barrel's threaded and ready to roll with a Paramount muzzle brake. You know what that means? Less recoil and a lot more control. I know, less recoil sounds like I'm asking for directions instead of flexing my red-blooded American dad toughness. But hey, my shoulders only got so much mileage left, folks. Plus, who wants to feel like they've been kicked by a mule every time they take a shot? Not this guy. One of my favorite parts? The collapsible ramrod. Instead of having that ramrod clunking around like it's out for a joyride, this thing stays nice and tucked away until you need it. It's a small detail, but small things make a big difference when you're on a hunt trying to keep everything balanced. The CVA Accura MRX also comes with a whole bunch of accessories to get you going. You got the Quake Claw sling, Durasight scope rail, and a carbon fiber collapsible ramrod, plus an adjustable trigger that hits a sweet 3.5 pound pull weight. So if you could take this muzzleloader anywhere on a hunt, where would you go? Well, what are you going to be aiming for? Leave your comments below and click that like, subscribe, and notification button to get more content just like this. Or better yet, check out the video to your right about the best concealed handguns for self-defense. Take it easy and happy shooting.